Hello and welcome. I was going to say welcome back.
Welcome back.
Have we started yet?
Where have they been? No.
Where have you been?
Welcome to the week of postnatal week.
We wanted to discuss on our topic today, why is it important to have good postnatal recovery?
To get that postnatal recovery right so that you are strong and so that you don't have any issues either directly after or in the future.
Exactly. So what we wanted to do is kind of re-explain what happened really when you were pregnant, so you understand a little bit as to why you need to take some things into account. So a lot of women forget they've had their baby comes out and they go, great, let's go back to fitness. But they forget they're not quite where they were before they had baby. So if you think about it, when you're pregnant, obviously your centre of gravity changes, your pelvis tilts because of the weight of the baby, it drops you forwards, you tend to round in the shoulders, you tend to drop the chin forwards, and and all those sorts of things. You haven't used your abdominal muscles for like at least 9 months, at least. So they're feeling pretty weak. So they could even be separated. We don't know that yet because we've only just had the baby and you've not necessarily been checked by anyone.
Everything's looser because everything's been stretched. So your abdominal muscles have been stretched. Your transverse abdominals at the bottom have had to support that baby. So that's been weakened and stretched. So all that stuff is a little bit looser and a little bit weaker than it was, even if you were at the top of your game, even into like first trimester.
Yeah, and even the because you've got the hormone relaxing kicks in when you're pregnant. When you are breastfeeding, that stays in your body, not as a high level as it is in pregnancy, but it's still there. So if you're breastfeeding, you do need to take that into account, that your ligaments and tendons will still be pretty loose, so you may still be getting pain in joints and stuff, which is pretty normal.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind. You don't want to be going and doing anything too hardcore when you are still relatively loose.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that. You loose girls.
In the nicest possible way. So as you can see, if you then take this body that has not done any abdominal work, so that's not functioning very well, your pelvis is still tilted, so you've got this imbalance going through the spine, you've got this roundness through the shoulders, which again is, so when you add impact to that, everything's just, it's all loading wrong, if that makes sense. It's all loading wrong. So the best thing to do is to focus on getting the stability back through the pelvis first, building the strength through the core first, and strength through the back first, before you try and then do load bearing exercise on top of that, so that you know that your spine is sitting the way that it should do, so that when the impact's going, the impact's being absorbed properly, rather than putting impact onto a body which is a bit like that, because then you're going to be compressed, you're going to be pushing things on the wrong areas, you're going to cause compression in the spine and basically make anything else that might not be quite right worse. Does that make sense?
I think so.
Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, I think so. It's like anything, isn't it? If you've broken your arm ever, or you've got a knee issue, if you've not used that arm properly for the whole time it's been in a cast, when you go back, you've got to take it easy. You've got to do it slowly. You've got to build up the strength.
Before you then do burpees on it.
Yeah, because it won't take that, and that makes sense.
Yes, makes perfect sense, right?
But for some weird reason, when it comes to pregnancy and postnatal recovery, us girls, because let's face it, we are amazingly superhuman because we've just created this amazing little baby.
Yeah, so cool.
But we kind of forget that our body's not functioned as it did before we were pregnant for at least 9 months.
Yeah.
And when you have your 6-week check, so when you get to 6 or 13 weeks postnatal and they say to you, oh yes, you can start doing gentle exercise, that body hasn't done anything for a long time.
Yeah.
And even if you've stayed fit and active during your pregnancy, it's been restricted in the way that it moves. So therefore, if you go back to doing movements that you can do when you're not pregnant, your body isn't stable and it isn't able to support you in the same way. So unless you get that functionality that Lizzie was just talking about right before you get into those exercises, you're going to cause yourself problems. Not necessarily, because we get women saying, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm running 10k and I had my baby 2 minutes ago." And they'll feel fine, and that's brilliant.
Yeah.
If that's you,
Good.
awesome.
Good for you.
But the problems may come further down the line. It may be that when you hit your 40s or your 50s, that is when you're going to have your issue. We're seeing more and more women who are staying fit and active being diagnosed with pelvic organ prolapse. Because when you're running, when you're doing heavy weights, you're pushing down on your pelvic floor, you're pushing down in your abdominal, and you're creating pressure whilst you're pregnant, and then you don't know how your body's going to recover after that.
And the imbalance builds up over time as well. That's what you need to remember. So again, like Sarah said, it might not be immediate that you go, actually, I feel fine and good. But bear with us on this, because you might feel okay because you kind of got this imbalance, but it's okay at the moment. But the more you do on it, the more somewhere else is working harder than something else. So this one gets tied to this one. I like it.
I'm liking this.
This one gets tied to this one, gets weaker, and then you and then you get this overall imbalance of the body, which then causes pain later on down the line that you then don't necessarily associate with how you were before. So we're not saying it's wrong at all. You can go back to exercise, but when you are doing your exercise, please focus on the abdominal strength, core strength, stability, posture, alignment, all those sorts of things, as well as, if not before. We'd prefer you did it before. Mm-hmm. But if you don't do it before, do it alongside, so that you are still building and getting that stability back through the pelvis, so everything's in line, rather than getting an ongoing problem later on in life. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this week we will help you with that. So if you are, and this is all stuff that's going to help you, whether you're 2 weeks postnatal, 6 weeks postnatal, or years postnatal. It's all stuff that you can address, whatever stage you're at. So
some of us can't even function until like a year down the line, and that's okay, by the way. That's quite normal. We have ladies go, oh no, they say to us, we'll see you in 6 weeks. Definitely, we had a baby, we'll see you in 6 weeks. We're like, okay. And some do, but the majority don't.
You need longer.
You need longer. Yeah. You just need longer. Just get
after
your head
6
straight.
weeks, you still don't know what time of
day
it
is, what they're doing.
Yeah, you're having breakfast at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah. You'd showered about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and that was with a screaming baby in the bathroom with you because you didn't want to leave them. So it's all very
Happy
interesting
days.
at this time. It's very different time, so don't beat yourself up as well, is what we're saying. But that's why don't think that once you are 6 months or a year that you're still not postnatal, because you are. Mm-hmm. If you haven't done any exercise since having your baby, you're still postnatal at the end of the day. I think that's how you need to take it, isn't it?
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I know this is going on longer than we normally would this video, but I always say to mums, new mums, that you've got these
Really?
Yeah, with babies. So you don't say your baby will walk at 8 months. Your baby will talk at 10 months, and every baby is the same. And that's the same for recovery. Yeah. So don't expect, that your baby will do things at different times, and they'll develop at different rates. Your body will recover at different rates to your friends or your family who are saying, oh, well, I was doing this at such and such. Everyone's different. Yeah. So listen to your body.
Brilliant. We hope that's helpful, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.